Thank you for joining us today. We have got a power-packed hour to bring to you today. This is the Paperless Agent producing our iPad for Real Estate training. And I wanted to give a little bit of background about who we are as everybody's joining this webinar. We have thousands of people who have registered for this. We've got people just coming on by the dozens right now. And so we're going to give them a little bit of time to hop on the webinar, and as we do, what I'd like to do is start by talking a little bit about who we are and why we're doing what we're doing. Here in Austin, Texas, the Paperless Agent was founded by Christina Wise here in Austin after she was running a very successful real estate brokerage. And in fact, Christina led our teams to win the Most Innovative Brokerage Award in 2010. Christina has been featured on the front page of the money section of USA Today, and she is the Evernote ambassador to real estate. For our industry, she is the Evernote ambassador, which is pretty phenomenal. We'll talk a lot about that today. She co-authored a part of the Technology Trends Report, the Swanepoel Technology Report, and then also the big one is that she and I have been featured, and our company has been featured in an Apple video that is still live on apple.com. It features how our small business has been able to use iPad and the Apple products. Additionally, we just got back from Apple not long ago, and they just shot a series of podcasts that are available online as well, and it talks about everything that we're doing to use their products and mobility in our businesses here in Austin, Texas, and how we're teaching agents and brokers across the country how to do what we have innovated. And a little history there is about 3.5 years ago, we got the first iPad as it came out, and I was selling real estate, and I said, you know, I really think that I can use this tool in the field to work with my buyers and sellers. And so what we did is we started researching and developing different systems and buying all of the apps that were available to us. And so what we did is as we went through this, we designed a system that I was able to use with our buyers and sellers out in the field. And then what we did is we turned around and we taught that to our own realtors here in our own real estate brokers, the Goodlife Team. And we designed the entire system, we recorded videos for them, and we've trained all of our agents here. Then what happened is Apple found out about how we were using their technology in real estate. And they did a small business feature on us. Like I said, it's still available to see on apple.com, and that really launched us into the national spotlight. And as that happened, we started getting calls from realtors and brokers across the country saying, hey, I saw your video, I really want to do what you're doing in the mobile space. And we said, well, you know, interestingly, we've been training our own agents. Why don't we train agents across the country? And so that is what we have done. We have designed the entire Paperless Agent iPad for real estate training around exactly how we are doing business, how we are able to produce 5-star experiences for our customers in the field using the iPad and mobile technologies. And so that's what we've done, and that's what we're here to talk about. In addition to that, at the end of this webinar, what's going to happen is as we go through this webinar, I'm going to teach you step by step exactly how to use this in working with sellers. So we're going to focus on a 5-star 5-step listing appointment today. Then, at the end of the webinar, we do have a special offer for individuals who see this training. This is an introduction to the training. If you see this and you're like, you know what, this is for me, I want to adopt this technology, I want to use mobility, I want to use the iPad and really produce this experience for my customer, because I do believe that that's where the industry is going. Then what we do, we actually have a special offer for you today to where you can dive in and become that paperless agent expert as well. And so we'll be able to offer that to you at the end of the webinar. Then immediately after that, I'm going to bring Oscar online, and we're going to go through an entire in-depth Q&A session. Sometimes, I'm not going to lie to you, sometimes these Q&A sessions can last up to 2 hours after the webinar. So Oscar and I are committed to sitting around here and working with you and answering every single one of your questions after we go through the training and make our offer to you. So that's the way it's going to work today. So let's get started and talk about why is mobility so important. And these are all stats that we're sharing to you from Realtor.com. If you're working with customers who are searching for homes on their desktop, the stats show that 70% of those will result with action in a month. So buyers will actually take action within a month if they're doing a desktop search, but if they're on a mobile device, 70% result in action within an hour. And that's pretty incredible. I mean, that just shows, number one, how much more powerful it is to have your customers out in the field driving around with their iPhones and their iPads and their Androids searching for homes. Man, when they make a mobile search like that, they're doing something, they're taking action within an hour. Additionally, iPad and iPhone users are up to 3 times more likely to contact an agent than a regular desktop user. That's incredible. So what we say is, we used to say the future is mobile, but as you see, the future is no longer mobile. Man, it is present. It is right here. Clear and present danger for all of us, which means that, guys, we've got to be mobile too. And I know you know that. Obviously, you know that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here with us today. You wouldn't be committing the time. And here we are. We're going to talk about how you can do this, how you can integrate it into your business as well. So what I recommend is if you're still using paper and a pen, pull out your paper, pull out your pen, and take a lot of notes. I want you to take a lot of detailed notes today because we're just going to give you as much content and information as we can. And it's going to move fast, so I want you to be able to record everything you can. Or if you've got your iPad next to you, pull out your iPad, open up wherever you take notes on your iPad, and let's get ready to go. I want to make sure that you're able to hear everything, you can see everything, and so let's get started. Additionally, one thing I highly recommend is as we go through this, I want you to type your questions over there on the right side of your screen. So, as questions come up, make sure that you type your questions in there because I don't want to get to the end of the webinar and have you say, oh, you know what, I had this awesome question, but that was 20 minutes ago and I can't remember what it was. So go ahead and as we go through this, don't worry, type your questions in there and we'll make sure that we answer your questions at the end of the webinar. Okay, so let's get started. What I'd like for you to do first is go ahead and wherever you're taking notes, either jot down or type in 1 through 5 because this is where we start. This is your 5-step listing appointment when you're working with sellers. And we're going to take you through every single step. Now, I want to let you know there is preparation work that goes into a listing presentation and a listing appointment before you actually get to the home. But because of our time constraints, we can't go through all of that. So we're going to get to the meat of it, the 5-step listing appointment. And so here's what happens. I've been selling real estate since 1997. And I used to do business just like everybody else did because that's the way I was trained. And what I'd do is I would show up to a listing appointment with tons of paper. For a while I carried a briefcase, if you guys remember briefcases, like the old school briefcases. And then I kind of graduated to 3-ring binders. But I'd show up with all of my research and my listing, my marketing proposal and paperwork and listing agreements and all of this paper. And I'd show up to the house and I'd ring the doorbell. And as the seller would answer the door, the very first thing after they greet me and I come in, the very first thing that they say is, hey, would you like to take a tour of my home? And what would I always say? I'd say, sure, yeah, give me a tour of your home. And what I didn't realize at the time is I'm giving up my power. I'm giving up control of that appointment to the customer. And so what I learned over time is, no, we need to shift this conversation around because if what they're doing is they're just asking a question of what they think they should be asking me, and what really should be happening is when they open the door and I walk in and I say, hi, I'm Gary, it's so nice to meet you, we had a great conversation on the phone. They're like, hey, come on in, how do we do this, would you like a tour of the house? This is important. Write down this language. Step number 1 is asking questions, and next to it write down this sentence. I'm gonna give you tips and techniques of things that we've developed, and I want you to document all of this. So what happens is they say, would you like to take a tour? I say, you know what? I cannot wait to inspect your home with you But first, why don't we sit down at your kitchen table and go over everything that we talked about on the phone? So I'll just repeat this real quick. I cannot wait to inspect your home with you. Write down, like, highlight, bold, circle the word inspect. We're not touring their house. People tour a house when they go over for a dinner party. What we're doing is we're there in a professional manner. I'm taking control of the appointment, and I say, I'd like to sit down next to you at your kitchen table and review everything that we discussed while on the phone. So note also what I said is sit down next to you. I'm setting up my client for the entire appointment. So they go, they sit down, and I sit down next to my clients. I will sit next to them. And the reason I do this is the only thing I show up with to my appointment is my iPad. And so what I'll do is I'm going to share with them everything that we have talked about so far. So what I'll do is, and this is Evernote. Step number one, we're going to talk a lot about Evernote. And I'll leave this up here for a second so you guys can pull out your phone, take a snapshot of all of the notebooks. If you're not that fast, just get your phone out because we'll be able to go back to this in a minute. But this is how we have all of our notebooks organized. And what I would do is, as the client sits down, I'll sit down with my iPad next to them, and I will open up their notebook. And I'll say, you know, Mr. McClure, I wanted to thank you so much for having me into your house today. And what I'd like to do before we inspect your home is I'd like to review all of the information that you gave me while we were talking on the phone during your initial phone consultation. And so I'll sit down and I will review all of this information that I documented from them. Now this is critical because, number one, your client wants to be heard. Like, that is the number one thing that they want from you. It's not, the number one thing they want from you is not to find out how much their house is worth or anything like that. They're human beings just like you are. They want to be heard. And what I'm doing here is, number one, I'm proving to them that I listened to them. I took detailed notes while we were on the phone. Additionally, I'm also sharing with them exactly how I am able to use this new technology in a way that anybody else that they're interviewing has not done. And I can guarantee you this, the last house that they sold, their agent didn't use this because the last house they sold was probably at least 5 years ago, which means this technology wasn't around then. So I'm showing them something new, and everybody knows, like, to sell real estate these days, gosh, you've got to be technologically savvy. You've got to be able to market this. And so I'm sharing all of this with them. So we'll go through this, and I'll say, you know, I took all of these notes, and I'll review this with them, and I'll say, you know, Mr. McClure, here's an example. When we were talking on the phone, you said you thought that you owe $200,000 on your home. Now, what you were going to do for me is you're going to call your bank and verify that. Can you share with me exactly how much you do owe? And he says, absolutely, Gary. It's not 200, actually it's $213,000. I say, great, let me document that here for us because we're going to come back to that during our pricing conversation. He says, great. So we go through this, I'll verify all of the information, make sure that all of this information is still accurate. Really helps my customer understand that I'm listening to them. Additionally, this differentiates my entire presentation and listing appointment from anybody else, because anybody else is going to do what? As they walk in the house, they're going to accept the client's offer to tour the home, and we're not doing that. So that is step number one, is asking your client questions. It's basically verifying and validating everything that they said during your initial phone consultation. So step number two, let's move on to step number two. Remember what we said when they opened the door and they came to us and they said, would you like to tour the home? I said, I cannot wait to inspect your home. So step number two is inspect the home with the seller. So go ahead and write that down wherever you wrote number two. And the app we're going to use for this is still Evernote. And as we go through this, I'll back up and I'll show you guys the notebooks again. So if you have your phone handy and you want to take a snapshot of that and still how we organize everything, we're willing to share that. Just take it all. So that's how we organize things. And then so as I say, you know what, I think we have all of the information from our initial phone consultation. Glad we were able to verify all of that. Now I'm ready to inspect your home with you. Let's take a look. And he says, okay, great. And so I open up my template that I use to inspect homes, and so I have this available right here. So I'll go through here. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually delete some of these photos so I can show you exactly how we do that. So as we go get up and start walking around here in Evernote, the great thing about using Evernote is it allows me to document information in several different ways, and you might want to write this down because this is extremely helpful information we find. So you're able to document things through, number one, typing. So as you see, I'm typing on my keyboard. You're able to type information to document it as you're walking through, and right now we're in the section for home features. But here's a disclaimer I want to put out there, is that I'm not the fastest typist. You know, when I took typing class, sure, I could do 80 words a minute. I'm probably down to 40 words a minute. And as you're walking around a house, your client is probably talking much more quickly than you're able to type. So what happens is I say, you know what, Mr. McClure, if you don't mind, I'd like to record our conversation so I don't miss anything. And he says, absolutely not a problem. So right up here in the top, I want you to see up here in the header, we have the microphone. So I'll come up here and I'll select on the microphone, and you see, bam, it starts recording my conversation. Now, I know in California, for those of you in California, you have a law out there that says not only do you have to get their permission beforehand, but you need to record them saying that they give you permission. And so at this point, you might want to say, Mr. McClure, I am now recording our conversation. Can you verify that this is okay with you? And he'll say, absolutely, no problem. Great. So we'll go through, we'll talk about the house. He'll talk about all the home features. You see the recording up here. Then note where the cursor is. Wherever that cursor is, right down here in the home features, that is where the audio recording is going to drop as soon as I select that I'm done. So we've recorded 45 seconds. You know, I may record 30 minutes of a conversation inspecting the home with a client. When I'm done, I'll come up here, I'll select done, and then all of a sudden, what did you see right there? Bam, it drops that Evernote audio file right where that cursor was. So that's the second way you are able to document information. The third way you can document information, I'm going to turn off my external keyboard here so the iPad keyboard will pop up. And as it does, I want you to note something. If you have an iPad, you can take a look at your keyboard. See if you have this microphone down here on your keyboard. If you don't, what that means is that you don't have one of the newer iPads, which is not a problem. You just won't have this feature available to you. This is only available on the newest iPads. And what this microphone is that is an annotator. So what happens is that as I'm going through the house, I'm recording audio. If I also want to annotate things, what I can say is something like, the kitchen has beautiful granite countertops. And as I annotate, what you see is that Apple, brilliantly, is able to take that annotation audio and drop the text right wherever I was annotating. You know, I hope you're sitting back going, wow, that's cool, because when I learned how to do that, it changed everything. I think that annotating feature is absolutely one of the best features available. So we've got, so far we're able to document by typing, we're able to document by the audio features, we're able to document by annotating, and then one of the last ways that we're able to document is probably the most helpful, and that is by using your iPad to take photos. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we do this. So up in that header up there, you see where the camera is. I'm going to select on the camera, and I'm going to take a few photos. And on the right side of the screen, you see the camera. So as I select that camera, it's going to snap a photo. And then I'll hover around here. This is my view here from our office, so I'll snap another photo. And then as we're done here, down in the bottom right corner, you see the blue checkbox. I'm going to select that blue checkbox, and as I do, that magic happens again. And what happens is it drops those photos directly where I had my cursor. So We'll take a look here. You see the photos that I just took? It drops them in here. Now, the reason I do this is several-fold. Number one is that I want to absolutely continue wowing our customers. So I'm like, if you snap off like 80 photos of their house, which is very common to do, it's very easy to do. You'll go through and snap off all the photos. It wows them because guess what? Nobody else is taking the time when they're inspecting the home. You remember, we're not touring the house. This is a major differentiator for you. You're inspecting the home. So that's one reason, is you're wowing them. Number two is that as I go through the home, I don't know about you, but when I go on so many listing appointments, and when our agents are going on, dozens of listing appointments in a month, what happens is that it's so easy to forget about different features that a home offers. And so this allows us to never forget everything about that house. Also, if you have a marketing department or a listing manager who helps you manage or market, you can share all of these photos with them, and then they don't have to go see the house. You just help them see it. And then lastly, I want to scroll down here and show you, you see where this says recommended repairs and updates? Let me uncheck this and show you guys what this looks like. So this is what it looks like when I'm done with a listing appointment. I have all the photos and recommended listing updates, repairs and updates. Well, we also have, for our clients, we recommend a stager and a contractor. And then what we can do is we can take this information and say, contractor, these are all the things that need to be repaired. Now, as you go through and repair them, what I request is that you check them off and say, okay, you know what, Gary? All of these things are complete. You guys are ready to move on and get the house listed. Additionally, what this does is it helps the stager or designer see what they have to work with before they get to the house. So if they know that, gosh, you know what, right out here, we're going to need new patio furniture, they know to be able to prepare for that before they get to the home. So this is all about producing that 5-star experience and truly trying to find out, I challenge you this, try and find out how many times you can have your customers say, wow, or that's so cool, or even better, wow, that's so cool. This will absolutely help you produce that experience for the customer because nobody else is doing that for them right now. I want you guys to be the first to go out there and compete and win these listings against a lot of other people who may be more experienced or might have a better relationship with the customer already. Just show up, produce this experience for your customer, and let them decide that you're the best one for them because you are a totally different agent than everybody else. All right, so that is step number 2. Step number 3, we're going to leave Evernote. And as we do, we're going to open up a different app here on the iPad. And that app is called Keynote. So step number 3, write this down next to step number 3. It is the marketing plan, what is also commonly known as the listing presentation. So as I open up our marketing plan in Keynote, as I do this, I want to mention to you guys that if you're using a Microsoft Android or a Microsoft PowerPoint presentation, this would be done in PowerPoint. So if you're using Apple, you can use either PowerPoint or you can use Keynote. We use Keynote because we think it's really easy. So as we're done inspecting the property with the customer, what we then do is we go and we sit down with them back at the kitchen table. And I say, great, I'm so glad we were able to review all of that with you. Now what I'd like to do, Mr. McClure, is sit next to you again at the dining room table or kitchen table and review our marketing plan for you. And so I'll sit down next to him and I'll have the iPad and you know what I do? I love doing this. I love sitting close to him, and then what I do is I slowly and strategically slide the iPad towards them as I advance the slides. And I do this for 2 reasons. Number 1, I want our customer to know that we're in this together. By the way, that is the entire reason that I'm sitting next to the customer, not across the table. If you sit across the table from somebody, what does that automatically do? Just answer this in your own head. If you're sitting across the table from somebody, what does that do? Instantly, you create a physical barrier, and that physical barrier is the table. And what that says is, okay, you're over there and I'm over here. We're not a team. When you sit next to them at the kitchen table or at the dining room table, there is no physical barrier between you, and it says instantly, we're in this together. And that's what I'm trying to produce with our customers. I want them to understand I'm in this with you. We are a team. And so as we go through the marketing presentation, what happens is as I slide the iPad closer to them, they take control of the iPad. They take control of the presentation. And then what happens is as they're in control, I no longer have to tell them why they need to hire us. I get to allow them to tell themselves, because what happens is as they take control, they start reading this and they start having an inner dialogue with themselves. And if you don't think that's true, what just happened when I showed you this slide? Think about this. Did you just have an inner dialogue? Did you just answer my question in your head? That's what happens with your customer, is that they're having an inner dialogue about this as well. And what happens is that as you go through this and they have this inner dialogue, they convince themselves that you're the right one to hire. So that's how we use this keynote presentation strategically on the iPad to present to them. I'm not using paper anymore, using new technology. Oh, by the way, I wanted to show you guys something. Did you guys see how this is actually customized for that customer that I'm working with? So I'll pull this up and share that with you. You see their address and their name? So easy to change on your presentation. So that is step number 3. Step number 4 is quite often the scariest conversation for people to have with sellers, and that is, let's talk about price. Your clients want to know, how much is my house worth? And so we use several different apps to work with them through this process. Now, here's one thing that I can tell you from experience, is that as we go through this conversation, and as I'm sharing with my customer how much I'm listening to them, and as you are sharing with your customer how you're documenting everything in Evernote differently, what happens is your customer, your seller, is going to have built a lot more trust. So they're going to trust you a lot more because of how you have differentiated yourself from everybody else and how you have truly listened to them. And as that happens, when they say, okay, I'm on board, just tell me, how much is my house worth? Say, that's a great question. You know, we've done a ton of research and we can review it here in iBooks if you want. We actually have everything documented in iBooks from a market analysis perspective. And let me go back here to my collections, and in my seller section, I have a full CMA prepared for you here, and we can review that. But I can also save you time and just let you know that based on everything we see, we believe that we can market and sell your house for $500,000. How does that sound to you? And I've built so much trust that they're like, you know what, I think you're right, that sounds good. Or if they need to see the data, you can use that in iBooks. Then what we use is an app called Numbers. And in Numbers, what we do is we come in here and we will pull up the seller net sheet for the customer. And the seller net sheet is such a great a tool that we can use that it allows us to share with our customer exactly what we are going to be able to help them net in selling their house. And so as we pull this up, I want to share with you, this is a net sheet that all of our customers in the Paperless Agent training get. This is something that we give them as a bonus. And you can go through, all the work's been done for you. Basically, we come down here and I say, okay, Mr. McClure, you know, when we were talking earlier and I was documenting everything in Evernote, what I wanted to talk about is you thought your house was, your payoff was $200, and you actually told me it's $213,000. So what we'll do is we'll come right in here and update the numbers spreadsheet to show your payoff is $213. Our sales price is going to be about $500,000, which means that you're going to be able to net $250,000. And by the way, this updates automatically for your customer right here in the seller net sheet. Now, as if that's not cool enough, we actually found a way to make this even cooler. Remember, we're documenting everything for this appointment, in, that's right, Evernote. So we'll come up here where the wrench is. We're going to select the wrench, and I'm going to select Share and Print. And as I do that, I'm going to look down. The third one down here is Open in another app, and I'm going to select that. And the app I'm going to open it in is Evernote. But this is a great way to even wow your customer even more and say, you know, a lot of people use Apple Numbers. You might want this in PDF, or do you use Microsoft Excel? Most people use Excel. I say no problem. Let me export that in Excel. Let me choose the app, and I'm going to open this in Evernote. And as I do, what you'll see is that I'm able to save that net sheet in Excel right here in the client's Evernote. And I'll show you, here's a quick preview of it. And this also allows the customer that as you get a sales price, they get to use that Evernote, update it to whatever sales price it is, so then they can see exactly how much money they're going to net from the sale of their property. So that's how we're able to use numbers and iBooks in our pricing conversation. And so that is step number 4. And step number 5, let's go ahead and write this down. The step number 5 is signing agreements. Okay, notice the language I'm using. This is a presumption. It's an assumption that I'm going to get the business that I want if I want it. If I assess after meeting with a client and seeing the house and talking about pricing and we agree on price that I want to list this house, I'm going to get an agreement signed. And there are 2 apps that we use in this, so you might want to write this down. So step number 5 is signing agreements. Currently we're using Zip Forms and we're using DocuSign Inc. And let's take a look at Zip Forms and how we do this. So as I open up Zip Forms, what we're going to do is we're going to open this up, and I'll pull up, let's pull up Robert Watson's contract here. So there's a listing agreement right here. I'll go in here and edit that listing agreement. We'll just say this is for Robert Watson. Let's change this. This is going to be a, oops, I have the wrong one. This is a contract. Let me get that residential listing agreement here, and we'll go in and edit that. By the way, I show up with a listing agreement completed, and all I need to do is come down here and edit the price if I need to. Well, I don't need to, so I'm going to save that. And then up here you see the options. I'm going to review this, and in the review option, up in the top right corner, this is very critical. In the top right corner you see open in. Now, let me show you, if you hover here too long, what you'll see is that open in it disappears. Don't fret, because what you can do is tap right back up there, and you see the open in. You can reselect that, and as you select it, what we're going to do is we're going to open this in the second app that we're going to use in this step, which, remember, step number 5 is signing agreements. We're using Zip Forms and DocuSign Inc. So I'm going to open this in DocuSign Inc. And as I do, it imports that listing agreement. Now what I can do is I'm going to get a signature. Okay, so I'm going to come down here. I'm going to get a client signature. You'll see over here everything in DocuSign Inc. that is critical, like the next step, is in yellow. So if I'm the only one signing a document, so let's say I have a document that I just need to sign, nobody else is signing, I can use that. But I'm going to add a signer because I'm not the only one signing. So I'm going to say this is Michael McClure, and so his email is michael@goodlifeteam.com. Now, this next step is critical. I want you to pay close attention, take some notes here. The next step is in-person signer versus remote signer, or just receive a copy. If I am signing in person, this is an in-person signer. If I'm at the house that I'm listing, this is an in-person signer. Now, a great question I just saw somebody post was, what if one of the partners or spouses is not at the house with you? This is a great question. This happens all the time. Like, what if they're relocating, and Michael's wife has already relocated to Boston? Well, what happens is that I would add them as a remote signer, but Michael, I'm sitting there at the house with them. He's an in-person signer, so I'm going to select in-person signer. I'm going to add him to the contract. You see him right here. Also, this is great. I'm going to add me because I need to sign the listing agreement as well, and I'm an in-person signer right here. Next, the next step is always in yellow here on DocuSign, so I'll come up here and select Next, and it opens up that listing agreement. This is a great place and great time for me to review the listing agreement with my client, and you'll see up here up top it says Place Fields for Michael McClure. Great. So I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to review this listing agreement with Mr. McClure. Down here where I need his initials, I'm going to select initials up here on the top header, and then come down here and tap it and drop it right there. I'll show you again how to do that several times here, so don't worry about that. Now up at the top, if I need to place fields again, but I need to place them for me, if I change that and I select initials and come down here and just drop it, check that out. It drops the initials for me and for Michael. And then I'll come down here. Again, I have initials selected for me. I'll drop it right there. Come up to the top. I'll switch back to Mr. McClure, select initials, and drop them right there. And so you would do this through the entire listing agreement. And then at the bottom, this is a great place for signature. I'll come down here and I'll select signature and ignore the name there. Obviously, I needed to update that, but I'll just drop that there. And then for me, I'll drop my signature right there. Now, let's say I drop it in the wrong place, what I do is I just hold my finger or my stylus down on the iPad, and it'll select it, and I just drag it right where I need it. So once we're done with that, then what happens is I'll come up here. Remember, next step is always in yellow. I'll say sign. We're all set. And then it's going to say, okay, well, who's going to sign first? And this is where I always love having my customer sign first. So as it pops up and says ready to sign, who's ready to sign? I'm going to select Michael McClure. And this is when I hand the iPad to Michael. Remember, I'm sitting next to him. So I just slide it to him. He selects begin signing. In the top right, you see where my cursor is right here. It says next. You might need to guide him and say tap on next, and he does. Then the initial pops up. He pops that up and it says draw your initials. He says no problem. And this is an important question. I always say, Michael, black, blue, or red? And he's like, what are you talking about? I said black, blue, or red, the color of the ink. And he goes, well, blue. He says, okay, mark this down, mark my words. Almost everybody that you'll work with will choose blue when you ask them that question. And anyway, we're just having fun with this. I try to make this a lighthearted, fun thing, and the customers actually always appreciate it because normally they are thinking that this is a very, very stressful time, and by using the technology that is so new, they actually get excited about it. So then as he draws his initials, we select adopt, and then it'll take me right to the next place where we need to select, and he selects, and watch this, it just drops those initials in there for him. Then when we get to the signature spot, he says select the signature, draw your signature. I always say don't forget black, blue, or red, and he says not a problem, I'm on it. Select the signature, done. Check that out. Now, then they go up here and select finish, confirm their signing, then it's my turn. Now, as you sign up with DocuSign, what happens is if you're a realtor, they can help you set it up to look like mine, like you're about to see. I set it up a long time ago. I've been using DocuSign for probably 5 years. And what you'll see is I have a standard signature that's already in there, and it has the realtor logo right there, which I think is pretty cool. When I'm done, I'll just come up here to finish, select finish, confirm the signing, and bam, we just had our client sign the listing agreement right here on the iPad. Now, keep in mind, I went through that very slowly with you. I am able to do this faster and more professionally than I could using paper. So that's how fast and easy this is. Now, this is a really cool feature. We can either email this to somebody or open it in another app. So I'm going to open this in another app to show you how we can store this. So we're going to open this in Evernote, and as I do, we get the navigation, shows us, okay, how cool, it opens it up in Evernote. And let me show you what happens is as I move this into my client's notebook here in Michael McClure, what I want to show you is we have a signed listing agreement in their Evernote notebook. This is so cool. We move it in here. I let my client see me doing this because I want them to see I have documented absolutely everything. I have the listing appointment notes. I have their initial consultation that we reviewed with them. I have the signed listing agreement. If they emailed me a copy of their appraisal or their survey, I put that in there as well. Their net sheet is in here. Their tax record that I pulled from online is in here. A picture of their home is in here. The reason I'm doing this is everything that I would have normally had in a paper folder. But remember, gone are the days of those paper folders. Now I'm just using the iPad, and I'm using their Evernote notebook right here on the iPad to produce that 5-star experience during this 5-step listing presentation and listing appointment. And what happens is, I can tell you this. 2 major things happen. Number 1 is my close ratio on getting my signatures on listing agreements during the appointment have gone up significantly. So I'm walking out of appointments with many, like a much higher success rate. That's number 1. And number 2 is that this speeds up my ability to share all of this information with my entire team. So, for example, this notebook here, the seller Michael McClure notebook, I don't know about where you are, but where I am, we are legally obligated by the state of Texas, and this may actually be a federal law, is that anytime anybody signs something, you're obligated to give them a copy of what they signed. So to do that here in Evernote, this box up here with the arrow, when you select on that, what it does is it allows you to invite other people to see this. So what you'll see is right here I can invite individuals, and as I do, it allows me to add email addresses of my clients. It allows me to add email addresses of my stager, my contractor, my marketing department, and my listing coordinator or assistant. Whomever you need to share this with, you can share this with them right there. And by the way, this is another thing that I do before I even leave the house of my client, because I want them to see I just shared it with them and all of my staff, and as I'm walking out the door, I get to say this is so exciting because we have documented everything. We know exactly what our next steps are, and my entire team already has the information that I just collected from you, and we're ready to go so we can make sure that we produce a 5-star experience for you. And that is exactly how we have designed our iPad for Real Estate training to help you and realtors across the country produce 5-star experiences during your 5-step listing appointment. And as I bring Oscar Davila on, Oscar is here at the Paperless Agent with me. I'm going to unmute him in just a second because we're going to answer all of your questions. I see a ton of questions here. We're going to answer all of those, so I'm going to unmute Oscar, and as I do, and as he's going to look for the best questions he can find out there, what I want to do is I'm going to review the 5 steps with you because I see a lot of questions on that. There, it's like, hey, could you repeat step number 2 or 3? So here we go. Steps 1 through 5. Step number 1 is asking questions. Step number 2 is inspect the home. Step number 3 is review the marketing plan. Step number 4 is have the pricing conversation. And step number 5 is sign the agreement. So that is your 5-step listing appointment. All right. Wow, Oscar, are you there, my friend? I know we have a ton of questions here. We have a lot of great questions I've been watching, and what I'd like to do is bring you on so we can tag team this and make sure we answer all of the questions we have here.
Hello, Gary. I hope you can hear me. Are you there?
Oh, you sound great. Go ahead.
Okay, great. No, we have about almost 200, 300 questions here, and I'm going to start off just with one question that keeps coming up is about the templates. Are those templates available that you showed everyone on the call?
That is a great question, and yes, we do have those templates available, and in fact, we have it in our entire Paperless Agent training modules. So maybe that's a great segue for me to actually. Oh, you know what? I told everybody. I forgot about this, Oscar. I told them in the beginning of the webinar that we had a special offer for them, and I told them I would tell them as soon as the webinar was over, before we even got to the questions. So my error. I'm going to go ahead and do that now, so we can make sure we answer those questions first, because I promised I would do this. So I see a lot of questions like, what is this paperless agent training? How can I do exactly what you're doing? But the paperless agent training, it is all online training. And I love our motto here. It's more than training, it's a lifestyle, because really what it is you're producing a different lifestyle for yourself as a real estate professional. And it is online, 64 online modules, step-by-step training. And what it looks like is when you sign up for this training, you get instant access to 3 different massive modules that we have for you. Number one, we have iPad for buyers. So we just went through a small section of iPad for sellers. We also have training of exactly how you can do this when working with buyers, all the way through setting up property tours, going on to property tours and navigating through them, taking notes and photos, etc., having your clients sign offers at the house that they want to write an offer on. This is really critical, especially in a market where listings are tight inventory and you've got to compete to get your offers into the seller's agents quickly. We teach you exactly how to do that in iPad for buyers. And then iPad for sellers, we take you in depth and go step by step on that as well. Additionally, we also have modules. It's called I Just Bought My iPad, Now What? That's amazing online training that helps you master how to use all of these mobile devices. And by the way, this is not just for iPads. We just call it iPad because that's what we train on. That's what we use. If you are using an Android device, you can do all of this on your Android device too. So don't worry about that, guys. You can do, and we'll show you how to do that. You can do everything. Additionally, I mentioned this in the beginning. I told you this, and so I'm fulfilling on my promise to you. We do have special offers for you today. The special offers we have through the end of the month are, if you sign up, you're going to get Project 153, and this is our Goodlife Team Master Trainer, Jason Edwards. He takes you through 11 crucial business building topics, and it's 100. That's the reason it's called Project 153. It's 153 minutes of online training. We're going to give that to you as a bonus. Next, a Goodlifer membership. We're going to share with you everything that we're doing here at the Goodlife Team, and we'll get you private access to all of our coffee chats and all of the coffee chats we've had. You'll get access to our e-zine and our Goodlifer Facebook group and our coffee cakes that we send out every month. So you'll get access to all of that as well. And so, Oscar, what you just asked, Evernote templates, what about the Evernote templates? We're going to give those Evernote templates to you for free as well. We could be charging $97 for that for you today. We're going to give that to you. Additionally, that seller's net sheet that we went through in numbers, don't worry about recreating it. We're going to give that to you as a bonus today as well. So add all of that up. It's normally $972 for all of that stuff. We're going to give it to you for 60% off today. All you have to do is sign up today. Go to thepaperlessagent.com/iPad. It's $397, and you can sign up for that today as well. I'm also going to make sure that everybody has a link of that over in the chat section, and so you can do that as well. So click on the button. You can click on the chat and get the hyperlink, or just go to thepaperlessagent.com/iPad. Make sure you get that /iPad in there to be able to get this special deal of 60% off. And you can sign up today. Literally, you can have your training as soon as you sign up and start your training today and be able to get going by next week. All right, Oscar, that was me fulfilling on my promise for that. Now let's get back to the questions, because I know we have a ton of them.
A question that keeps coming up is, will this webinar be available to review, since I missed some of the webinar coming in? And
That's
yes,
a great. Yep. Go ahead.
And yes, the answer is yes. We'll be posting the link for the replay as soon as we get it all processed, and we will be sending an email out to everyone that registered for the event. So you will be able to review this webinar and go over some of the things Gary talked about. The next question is, will this online program be available to me forever, or is it kind of an annual deal?
Oh, that is a great question. So, yeah, the promotion we have running right now, that is a one-time fee of $397, and you get access to this training forever, literally forever online. You can have access to it today, and it stays with you as long as you live. So you get that forever.
Next question is, what kind of iPad do I need, or what iPad works best with this program?
That is, we always get that question. That's a great question. The iPad that we recommend, you might want to write this down, is the iPad with Retina display, 32 gigabyte with Wi-Fi and 4G. Now, if you don't understand what that means, don't worry about it. When you go into the Apple Store or if you order online, it will all come clear to you. But that is what we recommend. Now, I'll put this disclaimer in there. Can you get away with 16 gigabyte hard drive on your iPad? Absolutely. I just recommend 32 gigabytes because as updates are made to the trainings and updates are made to apps and you put more music or whatever on it, you might need that additional space. That's my only disclosure there. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody has that.
And the other question is, do we have support for the paperless agent? And I will answer that. Yes, you do. We have phone and email support as well as if you want to ask a question on social, we'd be more than happy to answer them there as well. But we do have support for the program as you get started and continuing on through as long as you own the program.
Awesome. Perfect. All
Uh,
right.
there was a question here about video when you were going through the walking. Can you record video in Evernote?
That's a great question. Right now, you cannot. Unfortunately, Evernote does not allow you to record video, but you just take photos. Now, here's what I can also mention is that Christina, being the Evernote ambassador to real estate, we know this is something important to realtors and to our real estate associates in Canada. Here's what I can tell you is that as we go to the Evernote conference later this year, we will be bringing that up to the leadership there, asking about that. So hopefully that is something coming.
Gary, next question.
Let me answer one question
Okay.
real quick. Pat asked a question earlier. Gary, I've attended before, but I don't understand why my Evernote screen looks nothing like yours. Any thoughts? Yes, absolutely. Number one is perhaps you're looking at Evernote online. So if you're going to evernote.com and logging in there, it will look vastly different. Additionally, if you are on a PC or an Android device, it just looks different. The functionality is exactly the same. If you want it to look just like this, you need an iPad, and you need to make sure that it's updated. Your Evernote app is updated. So, but it's not critical. It's not critical, Pat, that you do that. You don't absolutely have to have that. All right, next one, Oscar.
The next one is, give me one second here. There's so many questions. They just keep coming through, and I can't catch up with these. What is the difference between Cardivi? Why do you Evernote versus Cardivi? Storing those signed documents. Do you keep them in both areas, or is that duplicate work?
That is a great question. So, Cardivi. What Cardivi is Cardivi is an online transaction management system which allows you to store all of your legal documents, collaborate with everybody during a transaction, and store everything in there forever. We highly recommend Cardivi for all of your legal documents. Now, what you saw is I only stored my listing agreement in Evernote. Once we start getting offers on a house, I transition all of my document storage into Cardivi. I just keep notes about the client in Evernote, but Cardivi is where I collaborate during a transaction.
Gary, next question we have is, what are the apps in the training, and what is is there a fee for those apps?
That's a great question. So all of the apps you see on here, with the exception of a couple, and I'll talk about them in a second, all of these apps we actually cover during the training. So calendar, you'll have that. Contacts, we talk about that. Maps, we talk about that. These are all native on your iPad. Next one is Realtor.com. We talk a lot about that in our training. The mortgage calculator, we talk about that, using that with buyers. Zip form, that's not actually an app. That actually goes directly to Safari, and we talk about that during our training. All of these are free. Zip form, to have access to the mobile form of Zip form is a dollar a month, I believe. It's like 12 bucks a year. DocuSign Inc. They have specials, and in fact, we give you links to be able to get access to those discounts when you sign up for the training. But I believe that's 14 bucks a month, I think. iBooks is a native app that's free. OpenHome Pro. OpenHome Pro is a great app. when you're using this with buyers. You can use Open Home Pro to manage an open house. You know, you can have your photo in here. You can begin an open house and document exactly everybody who's come through here. So, like, we'll leave our iPad up like this and say, hey, would you mind registering on the iPad? People will go to this is incredible. People go to the iPad and they will register right here on the iPad much more than they will on paper. So you're able to capture all the contact information, and then it also has follow-up email sequences that automatically go out to those folks. And
Gary,
yeah.
keep going.
And I don't remember how much that is. Next, Keynote. Keynote is $9.99. If you have an Android, we recommend you use Microsoft PowerPoint. Numbers is $9.99. If you have an Android, we recommend you use Microsoft Excel. Touch CMA. Touch CMA is only available in a few markets, but this is a CMA program that allows you to create a CMA on demand wherever you are, like at your listing appointment, and it has access to active, pending, and sold data. So, but that's not available in every market right now. PDF Expert, or I annotate PDF, that's $9.99. So the hard cost for apps to download them is $30. Cardivi, if you use the promo code Goodlife, you're going to get Cardivi for 50% off for the first 6 months. So it's normally $10 a month. For the first 6 months, you'll get that for $5 a month. Sketch, we talk a lot about Sketch in our training and show you how to create lifestyle maps and truly wow your customer. Sketch is free and is actually owned by Evernote. And then Evernote, the version of Evernote that you've been seeing here today is the free version of Evernote. We recommend that you start using the free version of Evernote, and then as you start using it and start understanding it and start collaborating with other people, we highly recommend that you upgrade to the premium version, which is $45 a year. Then iPhone or Photos, that's all native on the iPad. So those are the apps that we talk about in the training. We take you through granular details, step by step, of exactly how to use absolutely every single one. And somebody just posted, okay, I'm sold, I want that training. What is that link again? We typed it over there in the chat section. You can just click on the hyperlink, click on the button, or you can just go to thepaperlessagent.com/iPad. If you do that, you're going to get 60% off today, and it's just $397. We also have a 2 payment plan option on there as well. So if you're like, hey, I just want to do this in 2 monthly payments, you can do that as well, and you still get access to that. So, thank you, John, for asking that as well. All right, Oscar, what do we have next?
What is the difference between DocuSign, Ink, and DocuSign?
Oh, great question. So DocuSign, the full version of DocuSign is totally loaded, but it's not available on the iPad any longer. DocuSign has moved away from using the full version of DocuSign on the iPad because DocuSign Ink is their mobile app. Now, if you use DocuSign, you go to DocuSign.net and sign on to the web version. You can use that on the web. You can use it on your iPad, your iPhone, your Android, anything like that. So those are the differences.
Okay, great. And people wanted to ask, touching on how long is this offer good for?
That's a great question. So this offer of the 60% off and getting all of these bonuses, that's available until the end of the month. So at the end of the month, that's shut off. So here's another thing I totally forgot to mention, because I get so excited about this, is that we're also offering everybody a 30-day money-back guarantee, Oscar. So here's what I say. Go sign up today. Start testing out the training. If you love it, keep it. If you don't, we'll give you your money back in the first 30 days. So you have 30-day as a look-see, so go check it out.
And the Android question keeps coming up. Talk a little bit about how this, can I use this with Android?
Absolutely. What we train on is the system. We train on exactly what system you need to use to be able to produce all of these experiences for your customer. And what that means is that it may look just a little bit different on your Android, but it still works all the same because it's the system, it's not the device.
Great. Is this, we got a lot of Canadian folks on the call. Does this work in Canada?
Great question. So here's what I can tell you in Canada is all of these systems work in Canada. Right now, the legislature, last I heard, was going through the approval process to approve electronic signature platforms. So check with your legislature in your current region to make sure that electronic signatures are available now. I know they're moving that way. If they're not there yet, they will be. So absolutely all of this will work for you in Canada.
And how often are the materials updated to reflect the laws and changes? And will, based on will this work in my state or in Canada? How often is the product update?
That's a great question. Yeah, we're updating the product on average about 3 times a year. We do massive product updates. And so if you sign on today, here's what I can promise you. We're about to upgrade to iOS 7. And as we do that huge upgrade, we're going to need to increase the pricing because it's going to be even more robust. And we're going to give that update to you for free. So yeah, you'll get these updates for free.
Okay, great. Let's see. They just keep coming in so fast I can't keep up.
I know.
Uh, Talk about electronic
Oh, wait, hold
signatures.
on. I want to
Yeah.
mention Roger just mentioned electronic signatures are accepted in Alberta now. I told you, man, that it was coming. Canada, they couldn't hold back forever, so they're able to do that now.
And I think we're getting a lot of DocuSign. How do you get that? How do you sign? Can you give an example of how DocuSign Inc. works?
Sure. Let me take you guys back through that. So we'll go back. We'll grab, this time what I'll do is I'll grab a buyer offer. So this 1 to 4 family residential contract, we'll come in here and edit it. Um, well, we'll just leave it as it is, make it easy. If once I select review and open in, we can open this in DocuSign Inc. And as I select that, it's going to move us over in DocuSign Inc. I'm going to get a signature, and great thing is Oscar is going to be purchasing a house today. Congratulations, Oscar,
Great.
for $1 million in person. So we'll add Oscar to this offer, and so I'll come down here. I'm going to grab his initials, drop them right there where the buyer is, and I just go through the entire offer and drop them wherever I need Oscar to initial this contract. Now this is great because you can use this not only with initial offers, but every time you get a counter offer with something stricken, or I know in California you're required to actually use a document that is a counter offer document. You can use this for any of those, and so you can use that. And I'll come down here, and Oscar's going to be the buyer. So you can use this for any sort of document that you need. In fact, I use this for any legal document I need to sign. Anytime I'm opening up a new bank account, or anytime I have any sort of legal document I need to sign, I use DocuSign Inc. for this because it makes it so easy. In fact, we just refinanced our house, and there's Oscar. Oh, that was terrible, Oscar. Let me change that for you there. So we're going to use Oscar. There you go, Oscar. That's better. All right, so we just refinanced our house, and I didn't sign anything in ink. I did absolutely everything up until closing here on my iPad using DocuSign Ink. And it was so easy and fast. In fact, our lender was so impressed that they signed up for DocuSign because of it. So yeah, we're able to use this on so much. AR. Oh, that's terrible. Sorry about that, Oscar. But we get the point, and then confirm the signing, and we're done. So that is exactly how you're able to take it step by step through the entire signature process. And I mean, you saw how fast that was. I create an offer and have somebody sign it in no time at all.
Gary, this is a question we get a lot. And Evernote versus Dropbox. What's the difference?
A huge difference. Dropbox is nothing more than a cloud storage system for your hard drive. So just like what you would store on your hard drive, you'd be storing that in Dropbox. Evernote is a place where you document everything. You take notes in here. You can even drop files in here. You can drop PDFs in here and store them for your clients. So Evernote it replaces any sort of notepad or filing system that I would have. So all these files I used to have in our filing cabinet, they're gone. We now have everything here in Evernote. Next question, Karen says, can Evernote be used offline? Absolutely, it can. If you actually get the premium version of Evernote, you can store it offline on your iPad or on your desktop as well.
Great questions, Gary. Cardivi and Dropbox. Can you touch on that one a little bit?
Oh, sure. Difference between Cardivi and Dropbox. Cardivi allows me to collaborate with the buyer's agent, the seller's agent, the buyer, the seller, the appraiser, the inspector, anybody involved in a transaction who I need to give access to different documents, or even in Cardivi, I can have people sign because Cardivi is now owned by DocuSign. So I can have people sign on DocuSign within Cardivi. So massive differentiator. I can grant people access, take it away within like 2 seconds. So highly recommend, Diana, that you give Cardivi a shot there.
Gary, we've got this question a little bit earlier. What about dot loop?
Oh, that's a great question. So yeah, dotloop is a totally different system. Currently, they do not have a mobile app for dotloop, but it can be used. You know, if you're with a company or an association who gives you dotloop for free, what you would do in our training is you would just substitute dotloop wherever you see ZipForm and DocuSign Inc.
Great, great. And let's see here. We got more
Oh,
coming in.
I gotta share something. Lori just said, "OMG, I just added the DocuSign Inc. app to my iPad and opened up one of my transactions in ZipForms, and it works just like you showed. Thank you." Well, Lori, you are very, very welcome, and I hope that you find this valuable enough to actually become a paperless agent. And if you need the additional training, you can get that. And somebody just said, okay, I want this. Where's that link again? Let me show that for everybody one more time. And they said they actually wanted to know all the bonuses. So what you get today, you get iPad for real estate. That's iPad for buyers and iPad for sellers. You also get the I just bought my iPad, now what? You get the LinkedIn social media playbook. We're going to give you the Goodlife membership today. We're going to give you the Evernote templates, and we're giving you the seller's net sheet. So we're going to give all of that to you for 60% off today. It's $397. You can also do a 2-payment plan. Just go to the paperlessagent.com/iPad, and we'll make sure that you get access to that today.
Gary, quick question.
And Lori said, I signed up 10 minutes ago. Thank you, Lori. I can't wait. You know, and here's another thing, is that as we start going through this, what I want you to do is share with us your experience. Go to our Facebook page. It's the Paperless Agent, and share with us your experience, how it's helping you, what troubles you're having and difficulties or success stories. We really want to hear about that, because that is a really exciting thing for us. That's the whole reason that we're doing that.
Gary, you got something here. Can I get this for all my agents in our office?
That is a great question. So, John, that's a great question. I'm sending you a message right now with my email address. If you have an entire brokerage or entire office or team, and you're like, I want this for everybody, you know, let us know. We're happy to set everybody up on it and make it easier on you too. So, absolutely, we can work with that.
And is it possible to just get the templates?
That is a great question. That's not something that we have set up right now. We have the templates just set up as a bonus to the entire system.
Is the training self-directed, or do I have to schedule schedule a call with you?
Oh, that's a great question, Oscar. In fact, you and I just, yesterday, Oscar and I just got out of the recording studio. We recorded a new intro video, and it shows you everything that you need to do for your training to prepare for it. You don't need to do anything. It's totally self-directed. We just recommend that you start your training and commit 1 hour a day. It's only an hour a day, and you guys can work through that and get that done. So, so you guys can absolutely do that.
Gary, one thing I get asked a lot is, how long does it take me to get fully paperless?
Well, that is up to you. Let me tell you a story. There was an agent, and I'm not going to mention how old he is, 70, but he wanted to ask questions about how long it would take him, because he had a huge listing appointment coming up. It was $1 million listing appointment. And he was really concerned. He said, Gary, I think I'm too old. I don't think I'll be able to get it. And I said, look, give it a shot. I said, how long before your listing appointment? And he said, 4 days. And I said, I'll tell you what, if you dig into this and you really commit to it, I bet that you can show up and you can get that listing appointment. And here's my mobile number. Call me when your listing appointment is done and you have that listing agreement signed. And this man dove in. And to be quite honest, I forgot about it, but he did, and he called me and he said, Gary, this is so and so. I said, oh my gosh, what are you doing? He said, well, I just walked out with a listing agreement signed because I went through the training in 4 days and I showed up and was able to do exactly what you told me to do. So, can it be done in 4 days? Absolutely. It depends on the time frame that you have and how much time you can commit to it and what you have coming up.
Great,
I
great.
want to mention Holly. Holly just said, I need to run out and buy myself an iPad. Apple lover, but never saw a reason to buy the iPad since I have laptops, iPhones, etc. You've given me a reason to buy one. I'll be ordering this week after I get my iPad. Well, congratulations, Holly. And in fact, here's what I would recommend. If you do not own an iPad yet, once you buy an iPad, like, it's yours. You can't return it. So here's what I recommend. I recommend, and you might think, oh, well, that seems a little backwards, but you'll understand when I say. What I recommend is get the training first, because you can return that if you're like, you know what, I don't want to do this. You can't return the iPad. Get the training first and go through, I just bought my iPad, now what, first. So if you haven't purchased an iPad, buy the training, go through that training first, and make sure that you want to buy an iPad, because we're going to take you through and show you everything that you need to do to set it up. Then, once you have the knowledge of how to set it up and you're like, you know what, I do want this, then go buy your iPad, and you already have the knowledge of how to set up your iPad. So it's a little bit counterintuitive, but that's what we recommend, is that you do the training first if you don't have an iPad, so then you go out and make the investment on the iPad. And Holly, I hope that serves you very well. Okay.
Gary, a question, since we're on this iPad, what about the Mini? It's like, if someone owns a Mini right now, will that work?
That is a great question. It absolutely will. And here's what I can tell you. Christina has a Mini. She loves the Mini size. I have tried using the Mini with customers, and I think it's just a little bit too small for me. But what I recommend is try it out. If you already own a Mini, take it out, test it out, take the training, implement it, and see if it works for you. It very well may work for you, and you may not need a full-size iPad. And if that's the case, communicate with me too, because the more you guys communicate with us about what you're finding that's working for you, we get to share that with everybody else. So, we can share your experience with everybody else to help them too.
And then again, the wireless access, can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So Sophie mentioned this, talking about a mobile hotspot versus regular service. If you have a phone that allows you to create a hotspot and it's not too expensive, you can do that if you have the knowledge how to do that. Where I am, I use AT&T. They don't allow hotspots to be created on your phone, and I don't have a MiFi device, so I just got the 4G. I wanted it all in one device. I don't want to have to rely on two devices. I just wanted that 4G. So that is what I'm using. So Sophie, great. Thank you for saying that. Paul, I see that you also mentioned that.
Great, great. And people want to know what a hotspot is. Can you explain that real quick?
Sure. A hotspot is, you can, with your phone, you can create a wireless access point, which it's kind of basically what it does is it allows other devices to connect to the internet through your phone. It's not the best option. It's not the fastest option. The fastest option always is to connect to Wi-Fi. So if your client has a wireless internet access at their house, connect to that. If they don't, then you use your 4G on your iPad, and it is super fast.
Awesome, awesome. Can you touch base on Touch CMA one more time?
Oh, sure. Again, let me mention, Touch CMA is not available in all markets. I don't know which markets they are available in. You can just Google it and see if it's available in your market. But Touch CMA, what it is it is a full CMA product that you can create a buyer CMA or a seller CMA right here on your iPad. You can create photos, etc. You can search right here on your iPad, wherever you are. I'm not connected um, to it right now, so it's not going to allow me to search. But it goes through, and you can create a full CMA, and you can send that presentation in a PDF. You can review it right here on your iPad with your client. It's a great app. Again, it's a little limited right now. I know it's available in a lot of markets in California, so if you guys are out there, check that out. Let's see. Oh, Irene. Irene has a great question. She says, I want to buy this training today. Do you also have a code for a discount at DocuSign? Yes, Irene, when you sign up for the training, there is a hyperlink in your training that will take you directly to that. And so what I'm going to do for you, Irene, and everybody else is I'm going to show you guys exactly what the training looks like as Oscar pulls up the next question.
Gary, a question about storage space on Evernote. How much space do you get?
Oh, that is, whoa, that's a great question. On Evernote, let's see. Evernote's unique because they have like a monthly storage limit, monthly usage. I can upload 60 megabytes, and so this month you see I've uploaded 2.7. So you get a ton of storage there. Now you get a lot more storage when you upgrade to premium, and I don't know exactly how much that is, but you'll find out as you get into it and you see how much storage that you have requirements for. You'll find out real quick. So. Irene was wondering what does it look like. So Irene, this is what our training looks like. When you get it today, you're going to become a good lifer. You're going to get access to this for a year, so you're going to get all of these tools today. Additionally, an iPad for real estate, you're going to be able to see this is the video we shot just yesterday that has the intro. I just bought my iPad, now what training right here. We teach you exactly which apps to get, and we give you the hyperlinks for them. You get to start your training, and I'll show you guys what this looks like. When you click on start your training, it takes you right in to your training immediately, so it shows you exactly what all of that training looks like. You can so this is our iPad for buyers training. It takes you through all of the different steps and all of the different video modules. It even shows you how long those modules are, and so you'll go through step by step all the way through until you complete your buyers, and then you come back and you go through your sellers, and then these are the bonuses that you're getting today. You get your Evernote templates, which you get to download right here. You get the net sheet, which you can download as well. You get the link to DocuSign to be able to sign up for that, and then you also get the 50% off coupon for Cardivi, and you get that right there. So you'll be able to have access to all of that as well.
Gary, quick question. Maybe you can address this. Can I just bought my iPad, now what module?
That's a great question. We don't have that available for sale separately. What we did is we built that as a bonus for all of the other training, because what we found is that everybody who goes through the training needs just a little bit refresher unless you're an expert on the iPad. So that is why it's available as a product suite. And then Roger asks a great question. The net sheet is fully editable. Absolutely, Roger. We give it to you, and because we know wherever you are, you're going to have different fees with your title companies or attorneys, or and you can edit your commission splits in there. I know in a lot of states, most people are only able to get about 5% commission when they're signing up a listing. So it's totally editable, and you're able to do that from within that.
Well, a question about the lenses available for iPad and iPhone. I can answer part of that question. I do have wide-angle lenses that I use for my iPhone, and yes, they are available. And you can usually get 3 lenses for about $70, and on the iPad, they are available, and it just varies depending on the product.
Yeah, it totally depends. The last time I tried them, they weren't all that great. But they are helpful if you're really trying to capture some wide-angle shots there. So Nadia, that was a great question. Thank you.
Can you review? You got the next question, Gary?
Well, I found one. Sue asks, as you download Evernote on each of your devices, do you need to download Cardivi on each? Yes, you do, because it's an app. And here's a great thing. Let me share with you guys. All of these apps are cloud-based. So unless you ask Evernote to store stuff on your iPad, it's going to store everything in the cloud, which means that you have instant access to it on your iPhone, your iPad, your Android, your desktop, your laptop, any device that you log into and you download this onto, you're going to have access to all of your content, and the same with Cardivi. So yeah, you just need to download those apps on your iPhone and your iPad, and you'll be able to have access to them there. And I have all of these same apps on my iPhone, and because here's the thing. Your iPhone is nothing more than a scaled down version of the iPad that's also a phone. So, look at it that way. Your iPhone is almost exactly the same as your iPad, just looks different.
Gary, got a question. Can you show that screen what link to go to?
For which one?
Oh, I think you have that up there. You beat me to it. I'm
Oh,
trying.
that link. Oh, okay. Yeah, where to get the training. I see what you're
Yeah.
saying. Okay, so to get the training, go to thepaperlessagent.com/iPad. You have to have that /iPad, or else you're going to the retail sales page, and then you're not going to get the 60% off. So if you want the 60% off and get the special price of $397, go to thepaperlessagent.com/iPad. You can start your training today. And remember, it gets you a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what's the risk? I don't know. I don't think you have any. So there you go.
Is there a fee for different devices? iPhone, iPad, laptop, or the training?
No, absolutely not. So you know, paying a fee per device to download all these apps, no. Once you download the apps to one of your devices, it's paid for, and then you just go through and you add them to all your other devices. So uh, yeah, you're all set.
All right. Let's see what we got here. Net sheets and Evernote templates. Can you go over the Evernote template again?
Sure. What happens is that in the Evernote section, I don't think I shared the templates, but what happens, oops, let me go into my templates. You'll see I actually have a templates notebook right here. And in here, we have different templates for you. We have a client consultation template. We have a buyer property tour template. We have a listing appointment template. We have an MLS seller template. And we have a contract to close checklist. And so I'll just share this with you. What you'll do is when you join the training today, you're going to be able to log in and join this notebook. So that's what you want to do, is you'll join the notebook. Then as you come in here and you have a client and you need to copy like this this contract to close template to, you just come in here, highlight everything, copy it. You'll go back into your client's notebook. I'm going to come to the top right corner and press that plus sign, which creates a new note. Come into the body of the text. I'm going to hold down my finger and paste it. And there you go. That's how you take all of the templates that you create and move them right in here into your client's notebook. So, and by the way, like I said, let me pull that back up. Right down here, you see the Evernote templates. Is that if we were to sell that retail, we'd be charging $97. We're going to give all of those templates to you today when you sign up. So you get access to absolutely every single one of those, and you could be doing that. Carl has a great question here. He says, you told us the apps cost $30. What would the monthly fees be for other other monthly service subscriptions? That's a great question. So let's talk about what the monthly service is. ZipLogix, you pay 1 year in advance, and I think that's $12 or $13 for the year. DocuSign Inc., I believe, is $14 or $14.99 a month. Best $15 I've ever spent on anything, I can tell you that. Cardivi, with our special, is $5 a month for the first 6 months, then it's $10 a month after that. And Evernote, that's an annual fee. Evernote is $45 for the year. So those those four are the four that you'll have recurring fees for. So it's not that much. So Carl, I hope that helps you. And then Oh, second, when you allow access to files to team members, can you limit some to just certain items? For example, you may not want the stager to access the financials. Absolutely. In Evernote here, let's say that I have in here just just one document I want to share, and it's the listing appointment. So, Carl, what I do is in here, I would come in here and share just this note. So you don't have to share the entire notebook. You can just come in here and just share that note. So that's how you can do that. Is you can just share single notes, or you can share entire notebooks.
Hey
And
Gary, I
and
know you
vice.
love.
Yep.
Go ahead. I got a next question for you. Finish up there.
Oh, and one great way that you can do that is you can come in here and just take that single note, and up here you can just email this directly to the client, and that's all you have to do. You don't have to share the entire note or notebook. You just email that directly to them.
And quick question. I know you love Zag. Tell me, do you use a keyboard for your iPad?
I do. I use the Zag, and that's ZAGG keyboard. So I love Zag because the quality of the keyboard is great. Um, so there, yeah, absolutely.
And a little bit premium version of Evernote over the free version. Uh, what's the additional fee? What does that premium get you besides that the free doesn't?
Oh, that's a great question. So, premium version of Evernote allows you to collaborate with other team members. So, the free version won't allow people to edit notes. It just allows them to see them. In the premium version, I can share an entire notebook with somebody like Oscar and say, hey, Oscar, you have access to this. You can edit the notes in here, etc., which is what I want because I want my team to be able to edit the notes that I'm creating. So that is, it allows you to store your notes offline. It allows you to have more storage space, and it allows you to collaborate like that. So that's, I tell you, that's why I think that the premium version is really, really helpful and valuable.
And I can attest to that. We use well, I was using the free version, then I switched to premium. There's just so much more features and just it's more robust. And if once you learn the free version, you will get the premium version. Evernote, it's kind of like once you start into Evernote, you'll just start falling in love with it. It'll change your life and how you do things. And Gary, I know you can attest to this on using Evernote for financial receipts. Uh, just it's such a great tool.
Oh, it is, absolutely. I store everything in Evernote, and in fact, Evernote's tagline is remember everything. So I store everything in there so I don't ever forget any of it. And Paul says, where do you get the Zag keyboard from? Go to zag.com. All right. This is hilarious. Lori, this is great. Lori says, I could blow $397 at Costco in about 20 minutes, but this way I'm confident I will get more business paying for itself almost immediately. Lori, thank you so much for that testimonial. Um, we couldn't agree more. And in fact, there's a testimonial from a guy who took our courses, and I love sharing this. His name is Deepak. He lives out in California. I've never heard this saying before, but I love it because it's so apropos. It says, this training program is so impressive. You are offering $1 and asking for a dime. I've never ever heard about getting value out of something like that before, but you're exactly right, Lori. I couldn't agree with you more. And you know, I mean, here's the thing. I use the system every day that we created, and so that's why we're excited to be able to offer that to you as well.
Hey Gary, here's a quick question. Can I download the training on my MacBook Pro or it must be on my iPad? Can you go over how the training is delivered?
Oh, sure. Let me pull that that page back up. So the way the training is delivered is when you sign up, you're going to get an email today saying, "Hey, congratulations, you're signed up for the iPad for Real Estate training," and it's going to take you to a link. You go to coffeewithchristina.com and you log in, and you're going to get instant access to all of these videos. So I'll go ahead and share with you guys. Let me show a few things. The bonuses are not emailed to you. Your bonuses will all be right here in your training. So when you log in, you'll see your bonuses down below, and then when you're ready to start your training, you can come down here and let's say that we're going to choose and inspect the home. Well, as I click on that, you'll see what it does is it pulls up the videos here, and you'll see it's on the iPad that we're using here at Paperless Agent, and it takes you through the training. It says Paperless Agent and takes you through the training. Now, here's what's great. You can advance, you can fast forward, you can pause, you can rewind, you can do whatever you want through this, and we even talk about in our training modules exactly the best way to learn. So you see it zooms in here and shows you exactly what we're talking about as we're training you through the entire system. So you'll be able to have access to all of that as soon as you sign up. And I think, who was that? Somebody just asked this question. I think it was Brian or John just said, what is that link again? The link, I'll just post this up here real quick for you guys. You can click on the button, or we have a hyperlink. Oops, hyperlink in the chat section. It is thepaperlessagent.com/iPad, and you're going to get all those bonuses. You'll get them today, and you'll be able to start your training immediately. So that's what you're able to do today, and I think that answered all of those questions there. All right, so next, what else do you have there?
Let's see here. I'm trying to go through some of the questions we haven't got to. Um, let's see here.
Oh, Pat, so she has, can I download the training on my MacBook Pro or must it be on my iPad? Okay, the training is not downloadable. You access it through the internet. So you can watch this on your iPad, you can watch it on your laptop. We recommend, Oscar and I have gone through this, we think the best practice is to have your laptop or your desktop available, go through it, watch the videos on your laptop or your desktop, and then have your iPad available to be able to replicate everything that we're showing right here on the iPad. So as we go through it, you're watching and listening, and then you have your iPad there, and you're actually learning how to do it on your iPad.
Great. And will this work with Windows 8 laptop? That's what we're getting asked. Let's see here.
That's a great question. As far as using it as a presentation tool, I don't know. But as far as watching and learning the training, absolutely.
Great. Well, let's see here. I'm trying to scroll through these. Let's see. Do you work with any mortgage people?
Oh, we do, and in fact, I collaborate using Cardivi and Evernote with our mortgage lenders, and then the training, as far as training goes, the training is actually applicable to lenders as well, simply because it shows you different systems. You can apply this to any business that you're in, so yes, you absolutely can. And then I'm going to answer our next question. A lot of people are saying, hey, I'm trying to download Evernote on my laptop. Where do I do that? Just go to evernote.com. And then right here it says get Evernote, it's free. And then what Evernote does is it will automatically notice if you're on a Mac or a PC, and it will start the download for you. So that's where you do it. You download it to your desktop, and then you can use it right there.
All right. Let's see, Gary. I'm trying to get you some more questions here. There's so many good ones. Can we use Dropbox at all?
Oh, absolutely. You can use Dropbox. In fact, I use an app called SugarSync for storage. In fact, I have a cloud storage system right here. You see all of these. You can use Dropbox, Box.net, Google Drive, or SugarSync for cloud storage, and I do. I mean, I like backing up my hard drive just as much as anybody else, so absolutely.
Great. Let's see. What's your favorite app, Gary? Got a question for that.
Ooh, my favorite app. It's got to be Evernote, and I think it's simply because um, that's it's I use it more than anything else. I use it on my iPhone, I use it on my desktop, and I use it on my iPad every single day on every single device. So absolutely, that's it.
Hey,
Next question. Somebody just said, do you sell the iPad yourself charged up like yours? We've been asked this in the past of hey, would you just sell me an iPad that has all the apps on it? Well, here's what I can tell you, is you don't need to pay me how to do that because you actually need to learn how to download apps because you'll want to continue downloading different apps and set it up. The great thing is we have a module system. It's right here. The I just bought my iPad now what system that you're going to get included in this promotion. That takes you through and shows you exactly how to set that up. So absolutely, you'll be able to do that without a problem using that.
Hey, Gary, can you go over how to set those notes up under the notebooks?
Oh, sure. As far as
How
just,
that's organized?
oh, so they want to see how everything's organized? So we have, let me explain something in Evernote. In Evernote, you have notes, you have notebooks, and you have notebook stacks. And here's, just close your eyes for a second and visualize this. You look at your desk, and you have a file folder holder. And that's the metal folder system that holds all of your files on your desk. And in that, you have all of your buyers and sellers folders. Now, if you just pick up a buyer or seller folder, that is a notebook. The file folder holder is your notebook stack. And the notes are the actual, when you open up your folder, the notes are actually the pieces of paper, the documents in your folder. You close back up your file, your file. They call that notebooks in Evernote. You close that up. You take your notes that are in your notebook, you put them back in your file folder holder, which is this notebook stack. And we have them all organized like this in a sequential order. And we even show you exactly how to create notebooks and notebook stacks and notes in the training. So it takes you through in great detail exactly how to do this.
Great. How about merging your PDF documents on Evernote?
Oh, absolutely. Can you merge them? No, you can't combine. You cannot combine PDF documents, but you can upload PDF documents into Evernote. Absolutely. And we show you how to do that. We show you how to email directly from your email system into Evernote as well.
I think we get that question a lot, where it's like, what if someone's not using Evernote? Can they still see the uh, the the note? And that's something Evernote does, and it's just fantastic because I've shared so many notes that I have via a link, and it just works great.
Yeah.
Does the training go over how to use Cardivi?
That's a great question. So, Robin, our training, what we have right now is we have the iPad for buyers, we have iPad for sellers, and then I just bought my iPad now what? So we have that. We do not right now have iPad for transactions or transaction management, simply because of this. Number one, there are so many different transaction management systems out there that we're using Cardivi right now, but that doesn't mean that Dotloop might not be right for you or some other transaction management. So we can't train on every single one. But here's what I can tell you. Cardivi does offer great training for their own products. You can go sign up for Cardivi. They have great training. They have amazing support. And now they have a lot of resources behind them since they're now owned by DocuSign. So yeah, it's absolutely fantastic.
Gary,
And
here's a
then
great question.
Scott says, do we get all future updates or do you have to pay again in the future? Scott, we are going to give you guys these updates for free. So like the update to the iOS 7 update, we're going to give you guys all of that for free. So I hope that serves you well, and you can go sign up and expect that for free. Okay.
Gary, I got a good question from Armando. When a file is closed and completed, where do you place the file?
Oh, that's a great question. So when a file is closed and completed, I put it right here in the closed notebook stack. So, for example, if this seller right here is closed, or let's take the next one right here. If this seller is closed, what I can do is I can move this directly into a different notebook. Oops, I did that wrong. But what I can do is I can take this entire notebook and move it into the closed folder, which is right here. I can move it into that closed notebook stack. So, when I'm done, I just move it. When somebody goes from prospect to buyer, you just move it.
Question: what do you store in the DocuSign Inc. folder?
I'm sorry?
What do you store in the DocuSign Inc. folder?
Oh, that is DocuSign Inc. actually creates its own notebook here. And so what you can do is you can export directly into this if you want to. What I do is I export into the regular notebook here into DocuSign Inc. and then I immediately move it into my client folder.
And can I open Cartavia on my desktop or share documents on my transaction management?
Absolutely. You bet. Yeah, you can open it on your desktop, your iPhone, your iPad, your Android, everything. Um, and by the way, all of these applications, all of these apps, every single one of them except for Keynote and Numbers are available on your Android or Windows device. So Keynote, you would just use Microsoft PowerPoint. Numbers, you would just use Microsoft Excel. Other than that, everything else here is available on every other device.
Gary, question on iBooks on Android. What is out there that is equivalent?
That's a great question. So iBooks, your Android device is going to have a PDF viewer. That's exactly the same thing. They just call it iBooks.
Did you keep contacts in Evernote? Do you use Evernote Hello?
I do use Evernote Hello for fun, but I don't use it as a database management system. That's not what it's meant for. Um, but I do like to capture people's pictures and use Evernote Hello. And Oscar, I know you have used that in the past. Do you like it?
Oh, it's great. I just used it the other day when I met with some Evernote folks, and we had kind of a Evernote Hello meetup. And it's similar to LinkedIn, but a little bit more user friendly as far as contact information. If you get to download Evernote Hello when you go to a conference, it just makes things so much easier when you're trying to keep connected with people. If you get a chance, download it and just play with it. It's really neat because it can pick up people that who have Evernote Hello within a certain radius of the room, and it's
Yeah.
such a great way to meet people. It's just great for conferences.
Well, and that's the thing. Oscar here is our networking king. The man could network with anybody, whether you speak English or not. So he has some crazy skills with that. And so what I would say is listen to anything he has to say on social media or about networking because he is the king of that. So yeah, you can download Evernote Hello and just play around with it. It's kind of fun.
And
Um,
one thing
yeah,
about Evernote that I love is just sharing notes. The more and more sometimes we get people asking a list of questions, and I can put that in a note and share it with a group of people. So I found that when I get questions about, it can be about a property, it can be about a general issue or about social media, I can put it into a note and just share it with a unique set of individuals that I want to share that with, and it just makes it so much easier because I can just share the link and I don't have to cut and paste into an email, and it just makes life just a little bit easier. And I can share it over text, and it works.
yeah, absolutely. That's such a great key. I want to give a shout out to Krista. Krista shared a great tip. She said, sign up for the Zag website emails before you purchase a wireless keyboard. They're always offering specials on the keyboard. Just wanted to pay it forward. Absolutely. In fact, Krista, a lot of times they'll give you like $50 off with these promos. So go to zag.com and sign up for their emails, and you'll be all set.
Hey Gary, can you talk about zip forms a little bit and sending documents in zip form?
Sure. Yeah. In zip form, let me back up. A great innovation that DocuSign Inc. has just made is that they now allow you to import multiple documents into DocuSign Inc. So the way you do that is you're going to open this in DocuSign Inc. and you're going to save it to a library. So once you save it to the library, you can then go back and you can add more. Like, so, what if we have a purchase contract or a listing agreement and a seller's disclosure, and I need to open these all in DocuSign Inc. and save to the library? Well, as I add them, it allows me to keep adding so that then what I can do, and by the way, you can add documents from all kinds of places like that. Then what it allows me to do is to actually take these and move them into a document to be able to sign and send. So, I can add them into the library and then move them in to be able to do that. So, That's how you're able to do that.
Gary, great question from Robin. What do you use iBooks for the during the listing presentation?
I'm
What
sorry,
do you
what
use
do I use?
what do you use iBooks for during the listing presentation?
I use iBooks to put all of my MLS documents for my CMA in here. So if I need to go through and say, you know, this house on Cedar, it's on the market for $15 million, and you want to sell yours for $20 million, why do you think that yours is worth more? And we can go through that and we just talk about the photos and all of the data. So it's just a data storage place.
Great. And is everything I put into Evernote available from my desktop, iPhone, iPad? Do I need to what do I have to do to make all those come together?
Man, that's a loaded question. What I can say is that it's all in the training and that you're able to go in there and use all of that right there within the training.
So if I create a presentation in Evernote on my desktop, it will be available on my iPad.
Absolutely. It's
Okay.
available everywhere.
Awesome. And that's what the one thing I love about Evernote is just, the cloud base is like I can forget my laptop somewhere and then log in and get it at any computer. So I just love just it's a great tool. And as you move into the paperless lifestyle, um, it's just some things that are we're learning now are going to be just mainstream in a couple of years. And just learning some of the training in this program is just it's just the step by step of getting there, and that's the biggest challenge for a lot of folks is how do I get there? And this training just kind of walks you through that basic step by step.
Well, it does, and somebody asked as we're coming up on the second hour mark here of our training. Somebody asked, what is the first step I need to take? And it totally depends. It really depends on you, and it depends on how far do you want to take this. Do you want to be able to replicate everything we just did in this webinar, or do you just want to be able to get electronic signatures on your iPad? If you're just going literally if you're just going after, I just want to be able to do electronic signatures, DocuSign offers incredible training on their website, and you can go get free training there. But what we're offering here is a full system of how to use the iPad in your entire real estate business, all the way from uh, taking initial information from a prospect all the way through getting everything signed and collaborating with everybody else in the transaction. So really, it is a full system, soup to nuts. And what I'm going to tell you is, this is the last time we're going to offer this during the webinar. You can go get this for 60% off today. Start your training today. You get a 30-day guarantee, 30-day money-back guarantee that if you're like, you know what, this just isn't for me, email us and you get all of your money back because we want you to be 100% satisfied. Here's what I'll tell you. This is about us changing the real estate industry together, one realtor at a time, by really elevating our profession and producing a better experience for our buyers and our sellers collectively. And here is a fringe benefit, is that the more agents who are mobile and understand this technology in your market, the easier it is to work with them during transactions. It just makes life easier. So that's what we recommend. Let's all do this together. Let's make this a collaborative effort. This is a paperless movement that we've started in the real estate industry. And here's my plea. I want you guys on board. John just said, I'm in. John, thank you. I'm glad you're in. I'm excited about this. We've got tons of people on this webinar still, and a lot who have signed up today, and I can't tell you how grateful we are that you guys are making the commitment to elevate your profession and to really take this to the next level. So, join us online. I'd like to say a couple of thank yous. A thank you to Shannon. Shannon has been online answering a lot of your questions today, so thank you, Shannon. A little shout out to her. And a huge shout out to Oscar for helping with the Q&A today. Oscar, I had a great time with you today, and a huge thank you, enormous gratitude to everybody who has joined us on this webinar today. You took time out of your day today to learn more, to expand your knowledge, and to get into an uncomfortable situation. A lot of this technology is uncomfortable and it's new, and so what I can say is thank you for joining us, and thank you for making the commitment to at least take this first step. And if you take the next step with us, we would love to see you guys online. All you have to do, as I said, go to the paperlessagent.com/iPad and join us on your path to paperless today. This is Gary Wise with the Paperless Agent, Oscar Davila, and Shannon Musgrove with the Paperless Agent here in Austin, Texas, saying thank you. We're signing off, and guys, join us today. Can't wait to start your paperless journey. Thank you so much.